This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 60 of Horsemanship Radio, brought to you by Index Fund Advisors, IFA.com. Horsemanship Radio is part of the family of the Horse Radio Network. And today we have your dream job all lined up, and Pat Roberts describes your dream horse. This is Debbie Laux, and you're listening to the Horsemanship Radio. Thank you for joining us. Horsemanship Radio airs on the 1st and the 15th of the month, and I have my producer, Jen, with me today. Hi, Jen.
Hi-ho.
Oh,
that's my dreamy voice. Hi-ho.
Yeah, we have a dream theme today. This is going to be so much fun. So I hope everybody tuned in to listen for their perfect job, because that's what we have today. Just keep listening. So did you know that there have been like all these cutbacks at the police department for the mounted patrols?
You know, every once in a while we hear a headline here and a headline there about how they're cutting back. Was it? I think it was Boston. Very recently saw a headline. They're cutting back to one mounted patrolman. One
man? One horse, man?
one human.
Oh, that doesn't do anything.
What's the point?
That's kind of like just having, a celebrity.
That's like putting one horseshoe on your horse.
Yeah.
Really?
Sorta. Clip. Yeah. That is so bad. I mean, what does one do? It's got to be like a force. Anyway,
yeah.
So
what
I'm
happens
kind of
now?
disappointed about that because, the best way, really, you know what? I bet they quit because of the Boston bombings. I don't blame the horses. That's, that's it. We're out of here. Yeah. These guys are nuts. So horses are practical that way. But there, there's no other private companies that offer the mounted police except for this company that we got to interview Frank Keller with today. And it's just such an interesting business model. And this guy's bringing back horses in the mounted patrols. So he's my hero. This is so cool.
That's fascinating.
It is. You know what? And he's looking for people right now, and horses. They're like job scouring right now. They're trying to find people from one end of the United States to the other. So like if you've ever thought, you know what I want to do? I want to listen to music. I want to go places, and I want to ride my horse, and I want to get paid to do it. Then this is the episode you got to listen to. It's so much
cool is that. And then to add on top of that, we all dream about having our perfect horse. Well, the Roberts family has kind of nailed that down. And your mom, Pat, I was so thrilled that she agreed to come on and talk about your Willing Partners program, because I got to ride one of your Willing Partners horses, as did Glenn when we came out and visited. And riding around on those horses, it was just so cool to ride on a horse that he got straight A's all the way through elementary school. Straight A's. He was a straight A student, and it was so much fun. And we get to hear about how they're chosen and they're trained and the philosophy behind it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because we had mentioned it. You and I had started talking about the Willing Partners horses, and somehow we got diverted somewhere along the line, and we never told how. The old, secret, stay tuned. Yeah. 3 months later or something. So, we had to get mom back. I didn't want to just share all that stuff because she's the magic. She's the secret sauce to this whole thing. She and dad just are amazing at picking horses together. They have been, as long as I can remember, they have just been amazing at choosing horses. Pretty good at people too, but they're really good at horses. And they came up with a formula that really is they corner the market on these most beautiful, colorful, good heads, young horses. They just are really super duper. They're not cheap, but what would you expect with all they've got to go through 2 and 3 and 4 years of training and still be young when they get purchased. So,
right.
So we got your dream horse. We got your dream job. And I think people are going to love these too.
All of it coming up right after this from IFA.
Hi, I'm Mark Hebner, president of Index Fund Advisors and proud owner of Monty Roberts' Willing Partners graduate. He's a sugar bear. Investment portfolios are a lot like horses. You need to find one that best suits you, your temperament, and your stage of life. Some people might like an energetic horse and an aggressive investment portfolio, while others are more comfortable with a gentle ride and a more conservative investment portfolio. The trick is to find the one that's right for you. That's what Index Fund Advisors is all about, matching people with portfolios, risk-appropriate, low-cost, and globally diversified investment portfolios. You can find the right portfolio for you by taking the Risk Capacity Survey at IFA.com. That's IFA as an Index Fund Advisors. Or you can call us toll-free at 888-643-3133. That's 888-643-3133.
Pat Roberts is an accomplished horsewoman. She grew up loving horses and has trained, bred, and showed championship horses throughout her life. She met Monty Roberts, Dad, in grammar school, and after marrying, they began their careers in horses together. She's a talented artist. It was just natural for her to gravitate toward creating the numerous sculptures that she has, and it's usually of the horse in motion. She was honored with awards for her sculpture, and they are now in the permanent collection at the Kentucky Horse Park in Lexington, Kentucky, the European Museum of Art, and lots of corporations and headquarters around the world, United States. She has collectors in 15 countries now, I think is what the count is. And she also is in the personal collection of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II at Windsor Castle. So that's a pretty good endorsement. Well, welcome, Pat Roberts. I've got Pat Roberts in with us today. We're actually recording here from the Monty Roberts International Learning Center. We're inside the classroom. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. She is back because Jen and I talked about, I don't know, it was a few episodes ago about willing partners. And we were real excited about Glenn and Jen were here visiting on Flagstaff Farms, and they got to ride a couple of the willing partners horses, and Glenn doesn't do that very often.
Well, he had a good time, and we enjoyed showing off.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty special horses. And Jen and I had been talking about how you and Monty choose willing partners horses, because it isn't just a program that you can put any old horse through and make him come out on the other side a deemed, trademarked, copyrighted, the real thing. Certified willing partners horse. And we'd like to talk to you about that today.
Well, it takes a little bit of checking into foundation. It's not all about confirmation. It's about finding horses that haven't been raised in the backyard, have been raised in circumstances where they have had a lot of time out in the open, maybe on rocky ground, toughens their feet. But we want horses that are rugged, but they've still got to have appeal, eye appeal. So the first thing you do is you start looking for breeders that have a known group of horses that give you color. And it seems like the last group of horses that we found in Montana. And, of course, they were raised in really, really rugged conditions. It was rocky and tough. And
they have good feet?
Good feet, tough feet. And that's so important. Mm-hmm. But also, you need to know what the mare was like and what stallion they're using in their breeding program. And an example of a breeding program that we discovered in the Lynn quarter horses in Montana is that they have such nice stallions that they have the stallion over the fence where the mares and the babies are, and they're totally quiet.
Is that right?
They don't say a word, and that just really impressed Monty and I. And but also they're beautiful horses, and just the kindness, the quality, soft eyes, and lots of color. And the Lynns are known for gruyos. And it just so happens...
Explain that. Some people, it's a color.
It's a color, and it's not a gray, and it's not a buckskin. It's a soft, maybe like a dove gray, with dark mane and tails, and sometimes a dorsal stripe.
Right.
And
is it a dun? Is it a color of a dun?
No. Gruyo is gruyo.
Gruyo is gruyo.
Yep.
How do you spell that?
Grullo. Gruyo. And of course, a double L is like a Y.
It's Spanish.
Gruyo. It's a Spanish term. And the gruyo horse is very unique. And in fact, people don't see very many of them. And that's good for us because we want uniqueness. they have to go through a rigorous training of at least 2 years minimum. But prior to buying them, it's really important that not only do we check on the type of mares that we're buying them from and the stallions and the terrain, but also we expect them to be sound of wind, eye, and we x-ray their feet. Mm. And so if we have any deviation there, of course, they don't make the cut. And it just seems that in Montana, you find a lot of really nice places that breed not only like gruyos like the Linds, but also paints. And so in the last batch that we purchased about 4 years ago, I would say, we found some wonderful horses. Our friend Mark Hebner bought one called Bear that is an absolute love.
He's a sugar bear.
He's a sugar bear. Oh man, what a neat horse he is. Yeah. And but horses like that, and so far we have been so happy with the results. Very seldom do we have a horse that we have to, what we say, not make the cut. You know, they just we can't certify them, and so therefore they have to go another way. Mm-hmm. And but not too often. We've been fairly lucky that way. And our soundness issues have been minimal, to say the least. But that's because we've done our homework and we've checked out the breeding stock and been very, very careful about our x-raying and making sure that we don't buy problems. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you buy an older horse? You know, a horse that's been through the program. And, you know, the reason that we don't, and I don't say anything is absolute because I have bought some horses that were a little bit older and were started and been lucky with those. But what we want to buy is something that is young, that doesn't have any baggage. They've had no bad experiences that they're going to have flashbacks to, and that we control the way they're started by Monty's nonviolent concepts of join-up. Mm. And so they go through the program just like we do any breed or any discipline here on the farm. They go through join-up. And then they're just slowly ridden and introduced to all the different obstacles and things that they might, incur out on a trail. Mm-hmm. A couple of things that over the years that have been kind of interesting is that some of our horses have personalities that you just, it's so hard to sell them off the farm because everybody loves them, and
they don't get off the farm.
And when people come in and we have to sell them, then are you sure you want to sell this horse? No. But that's what we're in the business to do, is to find horses that are going to go out there and make you proud. And we've got willing partner horses in all countries all over the world. Norway, England,
Dubai. Yeah, the first one I think went to Dubai.
To Sheikh Mohammed's daughter, the new dude.
Yeah.
And, it's been a wonderful program. A lot of them have gone to England now, and they've got quite a reputation in England. Mm.
And the Western is kind of growing over
and the
there
Western
too.
Is growing in England, in all the European countries, to tell you the truth. I mean, they're all aware of the Western theme, and reining is getting more. It's progressing in Germany and France and Italy. But anyway, in order to make a willing partner horse, we have to be willing to make the investment, make sure that we've done a good job of picking our horse, and then be patient, because a lot of times you don't have the perfect purchaser come in for 2, 3, 4 years. Mm-hmm. And yes, they are a bit expensive, but when you pencil it out, no one makes money at producing willing partner horses. Mm-hmm. We've tried, and we've had success with horses that we've had a very short period of time, but if we keep them over 2 years, then that start really
training,
and everything, the margins decrease rapidly.
Yeah.
But there's such satisfaction in doing this, and when you get the letters and the photographs
Mm-hmm.
and the messages on Facebook about, oh my gosh, I love my horse, and you couldn't have found a better horse on earth for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's your reward.
That's why you're doing it.
That's why you're doing it.
Yeah. I meant to ask you about saddles. So you don't know who the end user is going to be of this horse, who the family is that they're going to. How do you know if they're going to ride English, a big old Western saddle, Australian saddle?
This is an easy one. We know our people. They have to come here and ride the horse. In other words, we almost have to approve the purchaser before we'll sell the horse. We want to make sure that we're going to have satisfied customers, so to speak. We find out, how they're going to use this horse, whether they're going to be English or Western or whatever. But it doesn't make any difference because during our training program, we use both English and Western saddles. So we take them to the arena. We try to teach them to change their leads. They're good at picking up leads, transitions, all the things that are necessary to make even a show horse. Mm-hmm. And then they're taken out on the trails. We have obstacles here on the farm. Mm-hmm. We trailer them often to the beach, mm-hmm. and where they encounter the ocean. Take them out on mountain trails, and by the time they are certified a willing partner, a true willing partner, they have been through the gamut.
So a horse is a horse, basically. You're saying
a horse is a horse.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. We start all of our horses, no matter what discipline, with the join-up method concepts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I might harken back a little bit about how this all developed out, because you and Dad, you and Monty, are such great choosers of horses, and you had some horses hanging around looking for a job here on the farm.
That's true,
as I recall.
Yeah,
and you have great trainers here, and I think it was Hector who was here at the time.
Oh yes,
who taught New Dude to lay down. And he taught him he was just bomb proof, and I hate using that word because it's there's no such a thing, but he really was eager to please. He was a wonderful horse.
Absolutely.
And we said, wouldn't it be fun? I knew he was a homebred, right?
Yeah.
The New Dude was a homebred. Mm-hmm. And I said, wouldn't it be fun to put some of these horses into circulation? And you guys are so good at choosing horses. At this point, do you remember that almost every other horse that came onto the farm had something extremely... He was at odds with humans most of the time, right? They had issues.
Yeah.
And it became, when you become known as the fixer of all things out there that are, being maltreated by people, pretty soon it's a whole parade of horses coming in with issues. And these exclusive little willing partners horses, these little homebreds that you had, never had those issues. They were raised with people who loved them. They were started with join-up. They were started with nonviolent methods. Mm-hmm. So they never knew to have an issue, right?
That's correct, and that's why we liked buying them where they've been raised out in the rough and really basically almost untouched. Mm-hmm. Now, someone might ask, well, how can you tell that they're going to react favorably and become a willing partner horse? We like to take a stick with some plastic on the end of it,
like shopping bags.
Shopping bags, plastic shopping bags, and take the end of a lead rope with the horse on a halter, and shake those bags at them and see how they react.
Okay.
And that will tell you a bit about it. Not it doesn't tell you the whole story.
Sure, but it's a reactionary.
But it's a reactionary.
So that's one of the techniques you took up to Montana, or when you
correct.
Seek out a horse, a young horse that's not started yet. So you're looking for horses that are not started. You're looking for soft eyes. You're looking for reactions or lack thereof. Right. You're looking for good breeding. You're looking for color.
Right.
And good feet.
Good feet. Oh, definitely good feet. Yeah. And you want something that's attractive, something that will appeal to people. And so, you're looking at that big eye, that's really important, and the color. But something that's really important in this program is, they say, why don't you buy older horses and, do that because you've got all the training under their belt by the time they're 5, 6, 7 or so. We like to think that people that buy these horses want to have them around for some time. Mm-hmm. And so young horses that are trained to act like old horses mm-hmm. are ideal. Mm-hmm. And that's part of our program.
Trained, or they have some inherent in them that mm-hmm. is just a quiet demeanor.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think that's important because so many times people think that they've got the 12-year-old girl who they're going to buy her first horse and the horse is 20. Well, she's going to have a heart attack. There's going to be a heartbreak here somewhere soon.
Oh, yeah.
If that horse gets too old or dies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like the idea of having a 5-year-old who acts like a 15 or 20-year-old.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's our goal.
It's not easy.
No, not
Tell
always.
me about the triangle, too, because I know growing up, you always talked about the conformation triangle, you and Dad. And it's a great story Jack Swanson provided for you.
My mentor, I'm an artist. As you know, most people, I sculpt mostly, but I was also a painter. And of course, horses were my subject of choice. And the triangle of a horse is very, very interesting because it means it shows you balance and it shows you athletic ability. And you look at a triangle, and the wider the bottom of the triangle is, the longer the stride of the horse. And you get more movement, particularly in racehorses. If you have a triangle that's tipped one way or another, particularly if it's tipped toward the shoulder, you're going to have a horse that's not going to move as comfortably. They're going to be rougher at the trot, and their movement will not be less than desirable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Perfect. So this artist taught you about this triangle, and how old were you all when you and Dad were both dating, I think, at this point. Is that right?
Well, actually, I don't know. I can't really.
It was premarital,
but
it might as the story goes.
I think I started dating your dad when I was 17.
Goodness, isn't that amazing?
I know. And Jack was a budding young artist up in the Carmel Valley, Monterey County. And he used to come up to my cousin's ranch and sit on the top of a corral, sketching and painting. Mm-hmm. And I think your dad asked him what he was doing at some point, and he said, "Oh, I want to learn how to do the best horse I possibly can." Mm-hmm. And so he started giving your dad a little bit of a lesson about what the triangle means, and it was something that really impressed him. And in looking at triangles, when you go to buy yearling thoroughbreds to resell at 2-year-old in training sales, that triangle is really important. And because of the knowledge of the triangle, your dad bought a horse called Alleged, who won the Arc de Triomphe twice, and a lot of good horses. So, yes, the triangle in a horse, whether it's a racehorse, a pleasure horse, a reiner, or whatever, it's very important.
Balanced horse.
Mm-hmm.
There's some fantastic tips. Thank you
welcome.
On how to buy a horse. So it's not just about bomb-proofing and desensitizing and being a really good trainer. It is how you pick them.
It's everything. It's eye appeal. It's straight. Limbs must be straight. They must move straight. They must walk out. You don't want a old pokey horse. You want a horse that has a good walk out, and that's important for people on trail rides. Mm-hmm. And some of the things that we do to make them better on the trail is we go out in maybe half a dozen horses at a time, and we make sure that we put them in every position, in front, in back, in the middle, and they need to learn that no matter where they are on the trail, that they are comfortable and they'll move on. Mm-hmm. So there's so much that goes into it. I mean, this is like a crash course in how to pick a willing partner horse, but it's doable. And if you do your homework, you're willing to look into bloodlines and people that are raising good, sound horses, and then do your work from there. It can be a successful program. Yeah. Maybe not financially, but certainly it's a heartfelt
Most
thing.
of us don't get into horses to
No,
make a lot
no,
of money,
no, no.
spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we have fun with that, though.
What's the old saying? How to make $1 million in the horse business? Start with $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you for joining us and sharing that. We finally got to that and tick that off the box that we got that. We would love to hear about some individual willing partners in the future too, about what you got in training.
Good.
And some stories of where they've gone.
You bet.
Thanks.
I have lots of those.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We've just scratched the surface.
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
We all hear about omega-3 and how important it is for your horse's nutrition. But why? Well, simply put, horses were created to get all of their nutrition from live, natural grasses. Omega-3 is an essential fat found in many types of live grasses, and it's critical to the horse's health. If they were living on live grasses 24/7, they would be receiving enough omega-3. But in today's world, most horses are fed commercial feed and forage as their primary nutrition, and most of these are lacking in omega-3. That's where Omega Fields comes in. All of Omega Fields' flax-based products provide a balanced, essential profile of omega-3, 6, 9, and may be helpful in alleviating problems related to skin, coat, hoof, joint, and sand colic. One of Omega Fields' terrific products is Omega Horseshine. Omega Horseshine is an omega-3 stabilized ground flaxseed supplement for horses to help maintain a shiny, healthy coat, strong, solid hooves, and top performance for horses in all life stages. Omega Fields provides the best human-grade, non-GMO ground flax that can help horses with dry, scaly, itchy skin, joint pain and inflammation, poor hoof growth, allergies, and more. Don't just listen to Debbie and I. Alexandra, a customer of Omega Fields, says any horse I ever own, I will feed them Omega Horseshine, and I will recommend it to anyone. You can get your Omega Horseshine today at omegafields.com, or just for our listeners, get 15% off using the coupon code Monty2015. All one word, it's Monty2015 for 15% off your next order at omegafields.com. That's omegafields.com.
Frank Keller is the founder, president, and CEO of Alpha and Omega Mounted Patrol. It's the oldest and largest private mounted patrol firm in North America, and they are leaders in the festival security industry, providing public safety services on an ongoing basis to the nation's largest events like Bonnaroo Music and Camping Festival. They like about 100,000 fans there. The Fish Musical and Camping Festival, the Coachella and Stagecoach Festivals in California, Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young, and the reunion of the Grateful Dead, Paul McCartney, Bruce Springsteen. Doesn't this sound fun? World Cup soccer games and the 1994 Woodstock Musical Festival. Mr. Keller trains mounted police units throughout the United States, and he's focused on emergency planning and life safety management for the public venue industry. Well, welcome, Frank Keller. We're excited to have you on this show today. Are you in Texas currently?
I am.
Good to hear from you. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy days. I know that you've got a lot coming up with the Alpha Omega Mounted Patrol jobs, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the background of that today, if that's all right.
Sure.
Good. Now, I understand that you've been involved in the Mounted Patrol for a long time. Tell me a little bit about your history with that.
Well, the company was founded in 1986 by myself when I was attending college in New Mexico State University in Las Cruces, New Mexico. It was a means to generate really income while I was going to college. and at college, I had started a Western entertainment company, which gave wagon rides and hay rides and chuck wagon barbecues to fraternities and sororities on campus.
Clever idea. How old are you now? You're college age?
I'm sorry?
You're college age at this point? You're in college?
No, this is 1986.
I don't know how old you are, but so at what age are you when you're putting this together, this entertainment?
Oh, I'm in my early 20s.
Yeah, so you're young.
And,
good for you.
So we we needed something to expand our business into, and began to research and look around, and found that there was nobody in the country doing mounted security at the private level. At that time, really, there were only police departments doing it. Not many of those around at that time either, because of the budget cuts, and at that time in the country's economics, we were in a little bit of a pair of straits there. So police departments around the country were cutting their mounted units, their mounted policing units, and it sort of opened up an entry into the market for us to do it privately. So when we went out and looked around to find out if anybody else was doing it, and to see if there were anybody we could copy or emulate, we found out there indeed was not. And actually, to this day, 30-some years later, there still is no other private mounted patrol company in the country. So,
is that right?
Many have come, many have tried, but it's not as simple as you think. There's a lot of training and
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. So, we're such a big country, aren't we? And so spread out. Where is the biggest need? Is it in the major cities, or where are you called for?
Well, shopping centers, large shopping centers, music venues, amphitheaters, arenas, stadiums, political subdivisions, improvement districts, and music festivals. Right now is some of the bigger need that we're seeing across the nation. The music festival has grown to these massive 80, 100,000 person festivals, and there's pretty much no greater form of crowd control and crowd management than a person on a horse.
Yeah.
So we've established several markets, and right now we're really involved heavily in the music side of things.
That makes good sense, because it's you can get in amongst them like you couldn't with a vehicle or even on foot, because you can make some traction. So, and you're so much better than a Segway. It's a horse. And nobody really wants to pet a Segway. People right.
Like Segways. So, and we're 8 foot, 9 foot in the air. We have a 360-degree range of vision. We're able to traverse even where people on foot oftentimes can't go, or at least can't go for long distances. And we're very visible. The uniform, the equipment is highly visible. The color is red, which was done on purpose as an easily recognizable component of a security system. When people were looking for help, they just looked for the red shirts, and just overall, there really is no other security system that I can think of that, on one hand, is 100% crime deterrent, if you will. The bad people don't want anything to do with taking on a horse, and it's 100% public relations as well.
Yeah.
People love the horses in this country. They love to pet them. They love to come and see our what we call troopers, which is our riders, and visit with them. And we have trading cards and coloring books for kids.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, there's a whole system. It's a whole culture that we've developed over the years.
What a great idea! On this show, we advocate getting horses back into people's lives, and I think so. For sure, you've been doing that for a long time. But I love the idea of being able to go across the United States and hire you. So now if somebody's interested in something like this, they would ring you up, your contact, and say, hey, we're going to be having a big musical festival. Like here in California, we have the one down in Palm Springs that's so big, and they have them up in the Northern Cal area. So they'd call you up and say, hey, we have 25,000 people coming. And you would determine what? That point,
we would look at the number of estimated guests or attendees. We look at the type of music, because that often makes a difference on the level of protection that we provide. And of course, the time of the year, climate, all these things go into the formula of how many horses we may provide during what times of the day, etc. So
okay, and yeah, I'm not even asking you about what music is more dangerous than another. We can just leave that to our imagination. But so would you mobilize people that you've certified? I don't know if you call it a certification or something in that particular area, or do you ship them all over the place?
It's a little bit of both. It just depends. As you said, the country is so big that we're not able to have offices in every single city in the nation or even in the urban areas, but we have regional offices in every major region of the country. So depending on what city and what county, et cetera, we would either, if we're lucky enough to have a local presence there, we would use our local office, and some of the bigger festivals like the one you mentioned in Palm Springs, we bring in people from all over the United States.
Do you? Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? I don't know how many people go to that. What's it called? I've forgotten.
Called Coachella.
Coachella, that's it. Yeah, and how many people attend something like that?
Yeah, they're 75 to 100,000.
Yeah, it's one of your bigger ones then, I suppose.
One of the bigger ones with people camping, and that's another big concern or need for what we do is because these people are on property for 24 hours a day, so there needs to be some presence 24 hours a day to help keep the fans and the venue safe. So.
Yeah, no alcohol involved, I'm sure, right?
Well,
Yeah, I suppose. So I want to get into the horse part of it, if you don't mind some of that detail. But how do you're going to have these patrol dates. You're going to have in Norco in February and BC, Canada in March, and Bell Buckle, Tennessee. One of my favorite people on earth, Joe Camp, lives in Bell Buckle, Tennessee in April, and then also Georgia in April. So you're going to have some sort of test, or what's coming up at those dates?
Those are interview dates where we are looking for a few good men and women and horses and to qualify for the job of providing mounted security. It's a pretty extensive interview. It lasts about 4 hours long, and it's done in the saddle, where you come to the interview and we have you and your horse do very basic equipation skills, some very basic what we call light and heavy sensory skills, and what we're trying to achieve is to make sure that you and your horse are working as a team in harmony with one another, and there's not a combative relationship there. And from a perspective of visual, height, color, the individual to the horse, that the look is what we provide. And our look, I like to compare kind of to a McDonald's hamburger, where anywhere in the country you go, you can get a Big Mac, it tastes the same. Anywhere in the country you go, if you hire us, it's the same look, same training, same uniforms, etc. So This interview lasts about 4 hours, and we're grading you and the horse. And there's actually a grading schedule that we use where you have to score 66 out of 100%, which is basically a C, an average, in order to pass the interview. And your horse has to score about a 66% in order to pass the interview. And so we're looking at over 150, 180 different elements, everything from how fast you come down the driveway in your truck and trailer for reasons probably don't need to explain. Yeah, to make sure you're not reckless, to how well you can sit in a saddle with a helicopter landing next to you.
Yeah, there you go.
Everything in between, the whole gamut is done there. And it's possible for you to pass and your horse not to pass, or vice versa. Sometimes horses pass and the riders don't. But we welcome folks to come back as often as they want. We give them, good information about how to make them or their horse better to make it the next time if they elect to come back.
Oh, good. Yeah. So the horse and rider are hired as a pair. There's no
That is correct.
Okay. So there's no your horse is great, but see you later to you.
Yeah, and then once those minimum during this interview, those are minimum standards that you have to meet. After that, then there's a lot of on-the-job training. There are certification academies that the individuals have to go through. They have to certify with our company within 1 year of employment of the date that they hire on.
Okay.
Of course, there are certain companies require certain security certifications they have to pass. So it's quite an extensive process in order to come to work for us. It's not like just going down to work for Kohl's department store and working at a register. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of love and passion from the riders, and so it's really it's a different challenge, and it's like it's a great career with us. We have people that have been with us for 15, 20 years. We have full benefits package with 401k retirement, full medical, dental, liability insurance, the whole thing, sick pay. So it's quite extensive, and it's a good company to work for. But that's what we're doing in those areas right now is gearing up for the upcoming festival season.
Great. So do you have a perfect horse that you could imagine, or are they, could be 4 years old, could be 24 years old? Is there a target that you have seen? You've been doing this a long time.
Well, the minimum age, we don't take any horses that are under 4 years of age, and it's just a personal thing. We don't feel like they're developed in order to take this kind of riding, 12, 14 hours a day on concrete or asphalt. So we look for something that's on the 4-year-old and up. We like them to be around 15 to 3 to 16 hands tall. We look for dark-colored, solid-color horses. We like, mixes, draft mixes, warm blood mixes, because of their height and stability. The drafts are the mental portion of the draft horse. When we mix it with a saddle horse, they're much more trustworthy and much more dependable mentally, and even physiologically. Their bones are bigger, their feet are bigger. You're sitting up higher. They have a better temperament. So it's kind of all over the gamut, but we really like that draft cross, dark colors, 3 to 16 hand, 4 to 10-year-old range, something along the.
And do you put a uniform on them, or does everybody provide their own bit, bridle, saddle? I'm just thinking, how do you dictate?
It's a little bit of both. We have minimum requirements for bits, what we like to see in a horse's mouth for what we do. We're very, very particular about that. We provide all of the underpads, the cover pads, all the reflective gear that are on the saddle and on the horse's feet and tail. We're real particular about type of bridle. We use a halter bridle combination that we've sort of modified over the years. We like English and Australian type saddles for this type of work. Western we use sometimes, and some of our folks that maybe work 1 or 2 times a year will ride in their Western saddles. But that becomes a bit, sometimes those saddles can get in the way of what they're trying to do and how they're trying to do the job with the saddle horn, getting caught up on it and things along those lines. But so really what you come to the table with is a horse, truck, and trailer. We provide most everything else.
Great. So do you have any crazy rock star stories? The boss jumped on one of your horses and decided to parade around, or I got to hear some. You must have stories.
So many stories. We've, we had Kenny Rogers at Bonnaroo a few years ago, and he came out and made it a point to get a picture with some of our folks backstage, and Loretta Lynn, and these are some of the older country folks that came out and have visited with us 2 years ago. We had a very famous band, I can't think of the name of them right off the top of my head now, that decided to come out, and they wanted to ride our horses and be in their music video. And I wish I could name the band right now, but it's a pretty famous Grammy-winning band. So, oh boy, we have lots of where band members will be out in the concert venue somewhere, and they'll want to get their picture taken with the horses, or they'll want the horses to come backstage and get their picture made back there.
Oh.
Yeah, lots and lots of stories like that. I could go on and on about those.
I bet, because you have cool horses, so you know that they'll probably put up with a lot. And have you ever been inner city? I saw the funniest YouTube just recently with somebody who had gone on with a horse onto the David Letterman show. So they're in a studio and they're doing crazy stuff on stage. Is this something you might have to enlist this person to do?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That's a little bit crazy. I'm not saying we wouldn't if we got a call to do that, but we work in a lot of urban or a lot of city areas. We work at the United Center in Chicago, and that's probably our most famous city type environment that we work in. But going on television, we've been on a lot of television shows, but I can't say that we've ever ridden our horse onto the stage.
Been inside the television show, yeah. Well, horses are so tolerant and generous, though, aren't they? They're amazing that way. And
amazing animals, and I think that's another reason why we've been successful using them in the capacity that we do, because of the respect that I have and have instilled in all of our staff nationwide, that these animals they're just a phenomenal creature, and And, the old timers thinking that it's just a dumb old horse, that's just not the case anymore. In fact, we know there's studies now that show that horses have the same sensory perception, but through their skin and smell as a dolphin does. And we all know how fantastically smart dolphins are. Well, horses have that same ability to read their environment, and I believe they do have an intellect of some sort, because I've just seen it too often where we've been in sticky situations where the animal has responded in a way to protect or save the rider. So, we're real big fans.
Good. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That sounds wonderful. Well, I would love to come out to Norco and see that, but is it open to the public, or is that something?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's actually not. We don't have any audience, because there are some things that we do that are proprietary
okay.
to the company. But there are, when we have our training academies yearly in those locations, we do set aside a day for media and folks to come out and audit.
Well, let me know. I mean, if there's anything close, I'm pretty close to the Norco one, so if there's anything in Southern California area, let me know, and if I can make it, I would love to see what you do. I just love those tests. Around here, we have a police department test for the little bit that they still have on hoof, as they say. And it's fascinating to see what they put these horses through, and just see the generosity in the horses. It's really, really fun. And then you go home and go, I wonder if my horse could ever do that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we do. And a lot of people have formed clinics and private clinics, and then do, bomb-proofing, which is a word that I don't like.
Me either. I agree with you. Yeah.
Bomb-proofing, but that's what they call these clinics. And we've never really delved into that part of the horsemanship world, but I think 30-some-odd years of doing what we've been doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we've gotten pretty good at it, and pretty good at training our animals for what we do for a living, that's for sure.
I'm sure anybody with that longevity in the horse world, we bow down to. Lots of respect for you. Was there anything that you would like to add?
Just the recruiting. We're really, really on a strong recruiting push right now, and it's because of our growth. We're growing so quickly over the last couple of years that we just can't keep up with the amount of requests for business that we're getting.
Is that right?
So that's why you're seeing such a push from us right now, from a public relations standpoint. It's because of all the the new events that people are knocking on our doors for.
I'm glad to hear it, because we need those jobs. So, how many positions do you think you might put in 2016?
Oh, just to keep up with what we currently have. Now, that's not including any new client coming around, but just for us to maintain the clients we have on the books right now, we need about 180 new riders.
Wow, yeah, that is awesome. It's awesome for horses.
Yeah, and then if we could get to that level of recruiting, we can begin to start taking much more business. But yeah, we're growing very quickly. But thankfully, we've been through a few of these cyclical economic situations, so we know better than to grow too fast, because that's just as dangerous as not growing quick enough.
I suppose. Because do these people come on as consultants, or are they actually employees?
Both. They come on as sort of independent contractors, those that want to just work seasonally and maybe work one show a year, like at Coachella. But then we have employees as well, so it runs the gamut. And of course, again, they have to come in a nice little package, and then we do all the training, provide all the uniforms, all the equipment, and they have to they have to ride by our standards.
Yeah, and so there's a time lapse in there where you have to get people up to speed, I suppose, too.
That's right. That's right. That's what we're doing now. It's just a huge push to increase what we've been doing in the past. So that's our biggest message right now: is we need good folks and good horses.
Great. Well, we know where a lot of those are. Is your greatest asset the word of mouth?
It really is. We've never really done a lot of advertising with social media. Now we've done quite well with just Facebook boosts, and we just recently redesigned our website, and there's a lot of new information out there, and it's more focusing on recruiting. But we've been lucky. We've never really had to go out and do a lot of traditional advertising. It's basically been word of mouth. Even from a perspective of the clients. Just in the various industries that we work in, retail and entertainment, they just talk amongst each other and trade ideas, and somebody will say, hey, try Alpha and Omega. We do go to conferences, horse conferences. We were just out there at an equine expo last week in
Pomona. Yeah. Okay. I didn't see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we go to other conferences that are arena and stadium management type conferences to exhibit our wares. But that's about it as far as advertising.
Good job. Well, we kind of like it that way ourselves too. Word of mouth. I think y'all know people that should be in the horse industry, and others that might not be better suited someplace else. Yeah. So.
And that's why it takes so much time for us to interview somebody, as I mentioned. I mean, hours of riding and visiting and talking during the interview process, and it really hurts us when we get just some clown, weekend warrior that comes out in a pair of tennis shoes and shorts and wants to interview to be a mounted security officer.
There you go.
So that's another reason why our push right now is heavy, but it's also to say, hey, this takes a lot on your part to be part of it. There's a lot of time and effort that you have to put into it.
Yes, and it should be. That's good.
Yep.
Better for the horse. Thank you. Well, we're going to put in the show notes a little bit about how people can get a hold of you, if that's okay. And we'd love to hear how the year goes for Alpha Omega and your mounted patrol. And I appreciate you coming on Horsemanship Radio.
Well, thanks so much for having us. We'll talk to you soon, I hope.
Thanks, yes. Thanks, Frank.
Whisper the language of the herd. Listen, you don't have to say a word.
It's time for Jamie Jennings to fetch an email from Monty Roberts' inbox and share a morsel of Monty's wisdom in a little segment we like to call Ask Monty.
Leave this world a better place and learn the magic in the language of the herd.
Would you do join up with every horse? Monty's answer. No, I do join up with almost every horse, but there are times when I work with horses without doing join up. I have never observed join up to hurt a horse or do it harm in any way. It is my opinion that join up is effective on nearly 99% of the horses I deal with. An orphan is an exception. Orphans generally do not know their own language, and join up is difficult and not very effective with them. I do not recommend join up with an aggressive stallion or a horse that is in a state of extreme nervousness, like a recently weaned foal or mare. If I am required to load a horse or go to the veterinarian and it is lame, then I would not require it to do join up. So I use join up on virtually every horse I work with, but not 100% of them.
For more of these insights into good horsemanship, go to www.montyroberts.com. and click on the orange banner that says Get Free Horse Tips.
Hi, I'm Monty Roberts, and I'm dedicated to training horses without pain. You can learn to do it too on my Equus Online University. Western, English, the beginner, or the advanced rider. It doesn't matter. You can connect with other students online too, on our forum, and there's a new lesson every week. It's a lifetime of learning for you on my Equus Online University at montyroberts.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Where in the world is Monty Roberts?
Monty is looking forward to meeting some new friends, two-legged and four-legged, in England first, March 19th. He's got one stop left with Martin Clunes in Dorset. And then he goes to Denmark, April 9th. And then he goes to Germany for a demo date in April 24th in Zweibrücken, April 23rd in Darmstadt, April 30th at Oldstadt. Then he flips over to Austria, and he goes May 5th and May 7th in two buildings there in Austria, two different dates. And then he goes to Johannesburg, all the way to South Africa. And we're going to be joining him down there on May 28 and 29, Joburg, and then June 4 and 5 in Cape Town, where the Sharks all live. And then July 17th through 21, he's going to be doing a Monty special training, the Portuguese version. He will speak English, and we will have a translator there. And then August 1st through 5th there is the Monty Special Training at Flag is Up Farms. That's all English and all a lot of fun. And then August 22nd, that rolls right into the Gentling Wild Horse course at Flag is Up Farms. And that's the one that Jamie Jennings took last time, and in a really fun group of people, and from experience to almost no experience. And it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Mike, a quick question about the Gentling Wild Horses at Monty Roberts.
Yes.
Is that something someone who has no real experience gentling any horse can come and participate in?
You know what? We had the first one last year that Jamie was part of. That was the premiere, and we had it set up so that if somebody wanted to audit it only and not get in the gentling pen with the horses, it's 2 weeks long. So, you've got a lot of time to get familiar with the whole system. But if they want to just come and audit, they can. That means no experience necessary, right?
How awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's I audited it, right? I didn't get to get in there. So it's fascinating to watch, Jen. But if somebody, wants to get in there and just, you've got a chute there, where the horses, when they're completely wild, they actually find their comfort zone inside that chute. So you get to get in there and do the rubbing on and the desensitizing in different areas. So you can be a complete greedy and still enjoy this a lot.
So you can, they're going to be, the level of participation depends upon your confidence and your experience level, because safety is paramount for participant and Mustang.
Everybody wears helmets. Everybody does. Everything is professional level safety. Yeah. But, if you want that experience though of watching Monty just go from scratch to
I think for somebody who maybe has no experience with the Equus language or Monty Roberts methods, this kind of a clinic, even if go as an auditor, take it all in. And it's amazing how much you're going to learn through osmosis, just taking it in, being there in person and watching it. I know I go on the university and watch a lot of the videos, and I have to watch each 7-minute video 10 times before I can take it all in. But this is an opportunity to take it in person, and you absorb it so much faster in person. So I encourage everybody to go over to Monty Roberts University and check out the Gentling Wild Horses Clinic courses, as well as the other courses there, and see if doing something live at Flag is Up Farms is something that's going to be right for you.
Yeah, it's really fun, a bucket list thing for a lot of people who've always wanted to. You don't have access to these feral horses in all parts of the world anymore.
Right, and you're learning from the masters when it comes to the language of Equus. There's nobody who speaks it better than a wild horse.
That's exactly right, Jen.
That's right. For details about today's show, like the website addresses and the dates and all that cool stuff, if you just go to horsemanshipradio.com, you're going to find links to all of this stuff. You don't have to memorize it while you drive to work. And we'd love to hear your feedback. Just go to Facebook. Yes, Monty Roberts is on Facebook. Just look for Monty Roberts and Monty Roberts tweets. That's right. He's on Twitter too. It's Monty_Roberts.
Yep. And many thanks to our sponsors who make this happen. That's IFA.com, Omega Fields, and Monty's Equus Online University. And be sure to visit all the other great shows too on Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. Until next time, have many happy horse hours.